Welcome back to Indie Film Weekly. I'm Glen Reynolds, your host. In theaters this week, we've got a jet black workplace satire with teeth, a choir drama set on the brink of war, and a timely plague story that shifts from quarantine logistics to moral whiplash. If any of these films land near you, make a plan, buy a ticket, and let the projection light do its thing. Theaters need bodies, and movies breathe better with you in the room. This episode is brought to you by Circus Road Films, helping independent filmmakers find their audiences since 2006. Check us out at circusroadfilms.com. Let's dive in. Our first indie film in theaters this week is No Other Choice, Park Chan-wook's razor-edged riff on Donald E. Westlake's novel The Axe. Laid off in middle age, a skilled professional discovers the market wants youth and desperation more than experience. So he decides to outcompete his rivals in the most literal, violent way possible. Park stages career anxiety like a heist, then lets the comedy curdle into dread. The jokes land, but they leave bruises. What starts as gallows humor about resumes and networking slides into a thriller about how far a person will go to protect status, marriage, and a dwindling sense of self. The set pieces are immaculate. The office politics are mean and familiar. And the satire has bite because it never forgets there's a human under the costume. If you've ever been told to lean in by someone who already has the chair, this one's for you. Our second indie film in theaters this week is The Choral, a wartime coming of age about voices learning to blend as the world tears itself apart. When the adult men of a small English choir enlist during World War I, the conductor is left to rebuild with teenagers who can't quite hit the same notes in music or in life. The rehearsals become a refuge and a test, breath control, posture, and hard truth about what's coming. The film takes the time to show the work of singing, the way a bright boy's sound darkens as the stakes rise, and how harmony is a practice, not a miracle. It's moving without syrup, precise about discipline, and clear-eyed about the cost. By the time the lads step into their first real performance, you feel the nerves in your own chest. Our last indie film in theaters this week is The Plague, a contemporary adaptation that turns an outbreak into a mirror. A coastal city locks down after an unexplained sickness spreads, and ordinary routines, shops, schools, greetings, become negotiations with fear. The film isn't about jump scares. It's about committees, shortages, rumors, and the quiet heroism of doing one decent thing when no one is watching. Doctors, clerks, and neighbors argue over principles that look tidy in books and messy in line at the pharmacy. What starts as containment becomes a test of memory. Who were we before isolation? And who are we now that we've learned how fragile normal is? If you like your philosophy smuggled inside a procedural, this is your ticket. So in theaters this week, that's No Other Choice, The Choral, and The Plague. Our spotlight indie film on TVOD this week is ReEntry. A year after a multidimensional experiment goes wrong, a husband returns home, not the man who left, but a near match from a parallel branch. The film treats the premise like a marriage drama first, sci-fi second. The questions are intimate. Do habits make a person, or does something you can't name do that job? And what happens when one partner can feel the difference? You get the thrill of big ideas, identity, fate, the physics of love, but they land in small rooms with mugs on the table and laundry half folded. There's a good aching stretch where the couple tries to relearn each other's timing, like dancers out of sync by a half beat. It's tender, eerie, and surprisingly practical about grief. Available on Amazon, Apple, and Google Play. Our indie film classic turns 20, and it may not be a classic for you, but it's a classic for me. Conversations with Other Women. A man and a woman meet at a wedding, spark, and spend a night unspooling the past they share and the futures they don't. The whole thing plays in split screen, 2 frames running at once. So you watch what each one sees and what each one hides. Sometimes the panes sync. Sometimes one lags a breath behind, like memory. It's witty and bruised, full of little parries and feints that only long-term sparring partners know. The device isn't a gimmick, it's the thesis. Every relationship is 2 movies that overlap. One side tracks faces, hands, and the old vocabulary of an inside joke. The other catches the flinch that ruins a lie. Hotels, elevators, a borrowed dress shirt, a too late room service tray. Everything becomes a prop in the theater of maybe. It's also a personal one for me, as I was one of the producers back in the day, and it was a blast to be a part of it. It's streaming on Prime and Tubi, but unfortunately, it's not the split screen version. If you can find the original version, watch that cut. It's the definitive experience. And that's the December 26th edition of Indie Film Weekly. Whether you're laughing at the worst job market ever, holding a note against the noise of war, or testing a city's soul under quarantine, there's something indie for you this week in theaters. Do yourself a favor, pick a screening time, and go sit in the dark with strangers. The light hits different in a theater. If this helped you pick a film, subscribe and share the show. Until next time, keep it sharp, keep it brave, and keep it indie.